That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The first time humans landed on the moon captured the whole world's attention in 1969. More Apollo missions followed, but the last time humanity set foot on Earth's satellite was in 1972.
3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Half a century later, NASA has launched a new space program, Artemis, with a bold ambition to return to the moon, not just for short visits, but to establish a permanent human presence. After an uncrewed test flight in 2022, 4 astronauts are now set to travel further from Earth than anyone has ever been. So what's planned for this new mission, and why is NASA returning to the moon? To understand this and all the biggest stories shaping our world, don't forget to subscribe to AFP. Named after the twin sister of the Greek god Apollo, the Artemis program is preparing its second mission, and this will be the first crewed launch in the series. It won't land on the moon, but will instead make a lunar flyby and test key new technology which will be used in future Artemis moon landings. There have of course been huge technological leaps since the 1970s, but that scale of change and the long gap in sending people to the moon has meant that everything has had to be redesigned almost from scratch. Meanwhile, safety requirements are higher and budgets are tighter than they were at the height of the so-called space race, when the US competed with the Soviet Union for dominance in the heavens during the Cold War. The crew that will open the new chapter in space exploration consists of 3 men and 1 woman. It will be the first time that a woman takes part in a lunar mission, as well as a first for an African American and for a non-American, in this case Canadian Jeremy Hansen.
Americans should rightly be proud that they curate collaboration that does this together, because that is an intentional, not a necessary, but an intentional choice to do that. And that's an extraordinary thing that lifts up the entire world.
The astronauts will travel aboard an Orion space capsule, launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida by NASA's new lunar rocket, the Space Launch System, or SLS. This configuration was tested in the uncrewed launch 4 years ago, so the goal now is to verify its controls and performance in a crewed flight.
It's a test flight and it is not without risk, but our team and our hardware are ready.
After liftoff, the spacecraft will first go into orbit around the Earth to carry out initial checks. If all goes to plan, it will fire its booster to leave Earth orbit and head towards the Moon. It should take 3 to 4 days to cover the 384,000 kilometre distance. That's nearly 1,000 times as far as the distance between Earth and the International Space Station. During this long journey, the astronauts will carry out further tests and scientific experiments. Once they arrive near the Moon, they will loop around it and fly beyond its far side. At that moment, they will be further from the Earth than any human beings in history.
We're going to be somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 miles from the surface of the Moon, much farther than most of the Apollo missions. And there's actually a silver lining and an awesome thing about that, which is that if it's lighted in the right way, which we expect it to be, especially for this launch window, we have the opportunity to see parts of the far side of the Moon with human eyes that have never been seen before.
Their observations could help NASA choose a landing site for future missions to the South Pole of the Moon, where no human has ever been, but where the presence of water in the form of ice has been confirmed. Finally, their return flight should last 4 days. It will include one of the most dangerous moments of the mission, re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. After the uncrewed Artemis 1 flight, some chips in the protective heat shield were found, so NASA has made changes to the trajectory this time. Once back in Earth's atmosphere, Orion will be slowed by powerful parachutes and splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California. From beginning to end, the mission will last around 10 days. Assuming all goes well, the aim is for the next Artemis flight to put astronauts on the Moon itself in 2028, which happens to be the final year of Donald Trump's last presidential term. But will 2 years be enough to reach that next stage? Experts are unsure, as the lunar landing module is still in development, and not by NASA, but by 2 private companies, Blue Origin, owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and SpaceX, led by Tesla's Elon Musk. Each is developing a lander, and it's yet to be decided which one will be used on which missions. The involvement of the private sector is a significant departure from the Apollo era. There is also cooperation with other nations this time. As well as Canadian involvement, Japan and Europe are planning to send astronauts on future missions, and the European Space Agency has built one of Orion's key service modules. One reason for NASA's fast-track schedule is that the US isn't the only nation planning a new moonshot. China has said it aims to put an astronaut on the moon by 2030, and in February it successfully launched its Long March 10 heavy lift rocket for the first time.
America will return to the moon before our great rival, and we will establish an enduring presence to understand and realize the scientific, economic, and national security value on the lunar surface.
NASA plans to start building a lunar base in 2029, and by 2032 this is meant to be occupied on a semi-permanent basis. But what's it all for? Well, the hope is that this can be used as a springboard to go even further.
It's not a repetition of Apollo. What we do here is you go to the moon to go beyond the moon. So the moon is the first step to foster and check out all our technology before we go to Mars.
NASA's original plan to reach Mars had envisaged building a space station in orbit around the moon called Gateway as a staging post, but the agency recently announced it was suspending this project in order to focus resources on its moon base plan. The Artemis program has already suffered significant cost overruns and delays, including problems with escaping liquid hydrogen, which pushed back a planned launch in February 2026. If Artemis is to reach its ambitious goals, the program will have to keep to a strict tempo from here on in.